Hey guys, it's Elizabeth from the Missionaries of God's Love. Thank you for coming back and dedicating some time for God. This space is designed for you and God. Let us prepare ourselves to feel God's presence. Begin by sitting in a quiet place. Straighten your back, relax your shoulders, and take a deep breath in. Give thanks to God for giving us this air. But also, God, thank you for giving me this opportunity to be with you. May the Holy Spirit fill me. I want to stay in your presence, God, but that you may illuminate me. Today's topic is, what can I get from God? This is a valid question, and the answer is simple. You can get everything from God when you ask it correctly, and if it does not affect His universal plan. It cannot affect it because there are things we do not understand, but God allows them, and God knows why He permits them. We cannot control God, but it does not mean that we cannot ask Him for what we need, or even ask Him to do miracles. Because God does miracles, especially for those people who ask correctly and with faith. They're people who give themselves to God. God will not always do whatever we want, but God will frequently do miracles. Many of us ask for the healing of people who may be in critical situations, and we hear time and time again that God cures people, and sometimes He miraculously heals them. Again, we just need to know how to ask for God's help, and always love God and accept God's will. There's a beautiful story by Mark Anthony DeMello that goes like this. There was a pilgrim who was on his way to the sanctuary of Christ that was famous for its miracles. While he was on his way, he got behind when he was walking through a town because he asked to get some water. When the couple knew that he was a pilgrim, they invited him to eat dinner and stay at their home. When they were eating dinner, they talked about their lives. The couple was young and they had been trying to have a family, but they were unable to. They had the dream of having a child. So the young couple asked the pilgrim, "While you are on your way to the sanctuary, could you ask God to give us a child? This is all we ask. It would make us very happy." The pilgrim said, "Of course." The next day, he left and he said goodbye, and when he arrived at the sanctuary, he went towards the Christ and he said, "Lord, I want to ask you something for this couple who received me. They gave me great hospitality. Thank you for putting them in my path. They asked me to ask you if you can give them a child." God said, "No, son. The couple's destiny is not to have a family." The pilgrim accepted it, and that he could not do anything about it. His pilgrimage ended, and he was a bit sad. He avoided the way to the couple's house to avoid telling them what God told them. He returned home. A few years later, he asked to do the pilgrim again, and to visit the sanctuary for the parties for the Christ. While he was passing through the town, he remembered the couple and he decided to visit them. As he was approaching the house, he sees a 2-year-old boy playing with a ball at the patio. He just stares at the boy and the mother comes out. The pilgrim said, "Hello, ma'am. How are you? Do you remember me?" The mother says, "Yes." She happily greets him and invites him to eat. The pilgrim goes to their home. He asks the mother, "And the child?" The couple says, "Ah, he's our child. This is what happened. The following year, another pilgrim passed by, and we asked him for the same thing. The other pilgrim returned, and he told us we are going to have a child. The following year, we had our child, and we are happy as he is now 2 years old." The pilgrim was shocked, and the following day he quickly left to go to the sanctuary. He arrives at the sanctuary and he tells God, "Lord, you told me that the couple's destiny was not to have children. But the other pilgrim came after me, and you granted the couple's wish? Why?" God laughs and says, "He must have been one of my friends who has the power to change people's destiny in accordance with God." The explanation of this story says that people who are close to God, people who love God, and who give themselves up to God, they have the power to change the plans of God under the condition that it does not affect God's universal plan. God can change the plans of nature, and God can do miracles. But why does this happen? It depends on who is asking and how they are asking. There are 3 things that you need to consider when you are asking God for things. First, what you ask should be something good. Second, you need to ask correctly. And third, you need to be a good person. And what does it mean to ask correctly? It means to ask with faith, with giving yourself to God, and with confidence and accepting of God's will. You need to be a good person, but this does not mean you have to be perfect. It means someone who does not look God for interest. It's someone who prays to God daily and spends time with God. They have the power to be friends with God and have miracles be done. I now invite you to continue meditating on this topic. Tell God, "Speak to me, O Lord, for your servant is listening."